Welcome back to British Stand. A bit of breaking news for you this evening as Keir Starmer has been told to hold an emergency cabinet meeting on the migrant crisis as the Tories demand answers for Epping. As always, guys, we are going to be going through what has been said with regard to everything. This, of course, coming from the this comes directly off of the back of the High Court ruling on the Bell Hotel in Epping. So as always, guys, we are going to be we're breaking this down fully and see what has been said. But as always, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for more British content just like this, and of course, guys, get involved in the live chat. Now, as I stated, Keir Starmer is under immense pressure this evening as the Tories demand he chair an emergency cabinet meeting to deal with the growing migrant crisis. Now, as stated, this comes directly off the back of the High Court ruling yesterday of the Bell Hotel in Epping, a ruling that handed victory to the local Conservative-led council, which successfully challenged Labour's use of the site to house asylum seekers. That ruling means migrants will only remain at the hotel until September 12th, after which the government must decide what to do next. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has written a letter this evening. Breaking news just over the last 5 minutes, has written to Yvette Cooper, putting Labour firmly on the spot. He's demanding clear plans for deporting illegal immigrants and guarantees that these individuals will not simply be shifted into other hotels, HMOs or social housing. That should be reserved for the British people, he stated. Philp's letter goes further, pressing Keir Starmer directly. He points out that the Prime Minister had no hesitation in calling an emergency cabinet meeting to discuss recognition of Palestine. So why can't he do the same when it comes to Britain's border? This is a direct political swipe, painting Starmer as someone who prioritises international grandstanding over protecting British communities. And it's not just Epping. Across the UK, of course, tensions are rising. We've seen it from Falkirk to Canary Wharf, from Nuneaton to Havant. We're seeing growing unrest and protests around migrant hotels. Local councils are pushing back hard. Broxburn, right next to Epping, has already confirmed that they're seeking urgent legal advice to replicate Epping's challenge over a hotel in Cheshunt. Council leader Karina Gardner says the pressure on local services is unsustainable and they are too prepared to fight. Now, however, whilst this is good, I suppose the Tories are demanding this emergency cabinet meeting, and it looks like it's going to be imminent by the looks of things with regard to the Shadow Home Secretary. Let's not forget, the individual writing this letter, Chris Philp, he himself was a part of the Home Office back in 2020 when the Bell Hotel was first used. It was only shut down earlier this year by James Cleverly before Starmer's government reopened it after the election. That cycle of closure and reopening sums up the chaos at the heart of Britain's immigration policy. Endless legal challenges, no consistent plan, and communities bearing the brunt of it. Whilst the Tories are doing this now, and I like to see that they are putting pressure on an emergency cabinet meeting, just in me, I can't trust the Tories. I genuinely just can't trust the Tories because, as I said, the individual here, Chris Philp, who's writing this letter, was a part of the Home Secretary before. He was a part of the Home Office before. So why didn't they do stuff then? Why is it only now that they're in opposition where they're starting to start doing things that make sense? It makes no sense. On the other side of things, guys, there is another twist, I suppose. The Green Party is now taking the opposite stance entirely, calling for asylum seekers to be allowed into the workforce. Yeah, I mean, the Green Party, I suppose no one really takes note of what the Green Party are all about. However, they're now writing to the Home Office and demanding that asylum seekers should be allowed into the workforce. It's bonkers. It really, really is bonkers. I don't know where they get their ideas from, the Green Party. It makes no sense whatsoever. But entirely, we are at a crossroads. Local councils are rebelling, as we're seeing. Courts are siding against the government. Reform UK is mobilising, the Tories are demanding deportations, and Labour is trying to hold the line while under fire from all directions. The question is now, Will Starmer bow to the pressure and call an emergency meeting, which some, of course, political commentators and all of the rest of it are stating is set to be imminent? Or will his refusal act to deepen the crisis and fuel even more unrest across the country? Because one thing that is certain is that the UK can no longer go on like this anymore. We're seeing these mass protests, and it's only going to get louder. It's only going to get worse over the next couple of weeks, especially as we're still in the summer months. Are we going to actually see a government hold account? Because he did have no problem with the emergency meeting beforehand. He never had a problem calling emergency meetings for things like Palestine, recognizing Palestine as a state, for example. But when it happens to be something in this country right now that we're actually witnessing in real time, and something is such an important factor, the invasion of our country that we're funding as taxpayers, we'll have to actually see if he actually takes note and does stuff. But it is all heating up. The Tories, of course, breaking news tonight, have urged that Keir Starmer holds an emergency cabinet meeting now. And instead, political commentators, critics, and all of these believe that that meeting is going to be imminent. But Chris Philp, of course, writing to the Prime Minister, writing to Yvette Cooper to start actually sorting out this mess. But again, I know people still do have the jury out when it comes to the Tories because, well, they had years to do it. That's why it leaves a weird taste in my mouth when I'm talking about the Tories. Because we're seeing this hard right stance now. Where was it for 14 years? They were complicit in all of this, what we're seeing right now. We've seen the clips of Tory MPs, almost flexing the fact that they were getting more migrant hotels out there. But now they're sort of taking the other role and taking the hard right stance on things and stating that Labour need to do this, that and the other. So whilst, yes, I do agree with what the Tories are saying, I can't really trust them that much. Let's put it that way. Let's have a little look and see what people are saying. What did you guys find of the High Court ruling yesterday with regard to Epping? This could actually work out in one or two ways, right? This can work out in one or two ways. Well, I feel like it's only going to work in one way. Well, it will work out one or two ways. The Labour government are then going to move these individuals to another town. And we're going to see the protests start again. And then we're going to see councils trying to ship these people out of their constituencies. That's what we've seen with Epping. And now people are probably going to be motivated by what they've seen in Epping and go, you know what? We're going to do that. See, if you take it to the sort of High Court, then we're going to be able to get these individuals out of our local area. And then it's just going to be a sake of, well, they move them to there, then they're chucked out again, then they move them to there, then they move them there. So it's actually making the Labour government act, which is a direct consequence to people actually protesting. So it does show that these protests that have been happening outside these hotels are actually working, which is good to see. Because without that uproar, stuff would never have been done. These individuals wouldn't have been taken out of Epping. These hotels wouldn't be closed in Epping. But then again, I think it gives a lot of motivation to others to say, no, we need to carry on. Look what happened in Epping. It works. We can get these people out. And then the government are also going to be put into a corner where it's like, well, we can't keep living like this, keep replacing them, put them into other places. It's just not going to work. So I think, it's a win for the British people. I genuinely do, as well. Howard G says, stop the boats is the only way. Yeah, that is the only way. I mean, when you've got a hole in your bucket as such, the only way to sort it straight away is, put a plug on it and fix the hole so the water doesn't leak anymore. But then after that, we need to get rid of the water in the bucket, which of course being the illegals that are already here. There's already so many. So yeah, whilst the closest crocodile to the canoe, so to speak, is of course the boats. You're absolutely right. We do need to sort this out. This is the closest one to the canoe that we need to sort. But after that, we need to get deporting. We need to get rid of all these individuals that have already come over. And the numbers are frightening that we see on a day-to-day basis. I think sometimes it can be as much as 1,000 people. It can be somewhere in between sort of 300. It's, so the people that are already here, they need to go as well. So yeah, you're right. Stopping the boats is the only way, but mass deportations as well. Trasdone says straight into HMOs. Yeah, but we have no housing. So how is that always going to be the case? You know, we're going to see the stuff that we saw last week with the eviction. Again, I can't remember. I seen it briefly, this article, where a family were evicted or something. For some reason in my head, I think it was a woman with a mother with 2 children was evicted to house an asylum seeker. And this guy was in a TV interview, the guy that had moved into this evicted mother's house and was almost apologizing. He was unaware of what was happening, but he was an asylum seeker. So we do see that with the HMOs as well, which needs to stop. Yeah. Yeah, apparently sending troops to Ukraine is Starmer's idea to distract you. Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny how quickly for foreign battles, right? It's so ironic, right? We're currently witnessing an invasion of the British Isles. We're witnessing an invasion. Our country's borders are not secure. However, we're now going to be sending our troops to Ukraine to patrol Russia's borders, or to patrol the Ukraine and Russia border, to make sure that Russia don't come into Ukraine. How ironic is that? We're sent out there to sort of look after Ukraine's border. We need to take back our border first, and we need to secure our border first. So our troops should be used and put on the ground there, and the Royal Navy should be mobilized. That's one of the only ways. But as you can see, it's quite outrageous when you put it that way. You know, they are. Our troops are being used to patrol other countries' borders, when our borders back home don't even work. Heck, we don't even have borders. Our borders are non-existent. Mixed up government. What is your thoughts on the Tories' stance right now? I'm quite enamored. I'm quite interested in people's ideas of where the Tories are standing on things right now. In terms of, what do you make of this? Okay, let's put it this way. What do you make of the Tories now? Hard right stance. They're almost like the hard right party. They're almost trying to become the populist party. They're almost trying to be what the Conservative Party was actually supposed to be in the first place. What do you guys make of that? You know, sometimes I kind of like what they're saying, but then again, you always reminded that, well, they were in the door 14 years and they were complicit in this invasion. They were complicit in these illegal hotels. They were complicit in all these individuals coming over. And they had time to stop this, but they didn't stop it. And now they're sort of acting as if they have all the answers, telling the Labour government how to govern. But I just feel that it doesn't feel right with me, in a way, you know. Yeah, the Tories had their chance. Sorry, I'm drinking on this stream, so I'm incredibly parched. I probably should have hydrated before I came onto the live stream. Apologies for that. I saw that interview. I think it's horrible. I saw that interview. I think it's horrible that your government is taking the migrants out of migrant hotels and spreading them all over UK cities and towns. Yeah, right now the hotels are a problem, right? But right now the British people can see where these individuals are being housed. We know that they're staying in the hotels. But when you start putting them into HMOs and start scattering them around the place, then all of a sudden they can. You don't know where these individuals actually are because they're amongst us. And then you don't know for sure, are these illegals or not? You know, they might just be a person. They're a person, but they're infiltrated. They're living amongst us. Right now, the hotels are okay. So probably in the Labour government's way of thinking, their next phase is to push out the HMO stuff. Their phase next is to go through it. Like, move them into HMOs. That's their next move. Instead of stopping the boats and deporting these illegals, their next move is probably, let's get them to HMOs. Then they can't do these protests outside hotels anymore, because then, you know, no one knows, no one's going to know. But yeah, troops. It's the 13th of September is getting closer. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be live streaming for those of you guys that can't go or whatnot. Be live streaming some of the footage on the ground. Hoping to meet a lot of you guys there, guys and girls there. It's going to be a good one. I'm really excited for it. Going with some of my friends. Guy I do the podcast with, I'm going to be going there with him as well. So yeah, we're going to be getting a bit of content. Hope to meet a lot of you people on the ground as well. And talking about the podcast. Next episode is going to be out in the next half an hour. So Point Blank Podcast. If you haven't already subscribed. But yeah, guys, let's let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on this and this imminent and potential emergency meeting. Guys, thank you so much.